Hey, film gazers, Kat Pachong here for the Film2GAZE podcast. This podcast is all about underground cinema, where we love highlighting filmmakers paving their way in today's industry. And today's guest is Jakin Cordova. He is a writer, editor, colorist, and he's recently produced a series called To Die For, and we're going to talk all about that and more. So thank you, Jakin, for coming on. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, good to be here.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you originally get started with filmmaking?
So I was never really interested in filmmaking growing up until like my last semester of high school, which at that point I had already gotten into UT Austin for engineering. And so it was like, oh, like I don't know what to do here. But I got into it just from like YouTube. My YouTube algorithm just kept sending me more and more filmmaking tutorial stuff, like Crash Course Film and Rocket Jump Film School. Those were both really great resources. Um, and yeah, once I got to UT, I like as soon as I could, like try to do all the film stuff I could. So I joined a couple of film orgs, and Texas Student Television is our student TV studio there, and they have like a lot of different types of shows that you can do. And so got involved with that, and then that TV studio is what I eventually was able to make To Die For through. Like they helped me make that.
Nice. So I guess you could say you're a first YouTube university type of filmmaker. Um,
Yeah.
did you pull a lot of resources from online just by the algorithm itself, right?
Mhm.
That's awesome. So really quickly, I want to quiz you on your favorite directors, see how well you know them. Um,
Okay.
so which of your favorite directors has a song named after him by the artist I Can I? Can I or Kenny? Do you know?
And probably Quentin Tarantino.
No, Wes
No.
Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of that song. Yeah,
Oh, you have?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Which of your favorite directors corresponded with an imprisoned murderer and wrote a play about her experience?
Was it Destin Daniel Cretton?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Who was it?
Miranda July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she called the play The Lifers, and this was in high school. So super young, getting involved with prisoners already, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to you. So you studied engineering at UT.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm assuming you graduated, right?
Yeah, I graduated December 2022.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, are you balancing a engineering career while working on your next project, or what is filmmaking looking like right now in this current stage?
Yeah, I'm in a weird situation where I am like pretty much exactly balancing filmmaking and engineering. Because
Mhm.
the engineering job I have, they can only afford to hire me like half-time freelance. And so what that looks like is I literally do engineering every other week. So this week right now is a film week for me. And so I have a couple of film projects I'm working on. And then next week on Monday, I'll go back to engineering. And so
Wow.
every Monday for engineering, it's like, oh crap, I gotta go back to this no offense to engineering. And then every Friday, it's like, oh sweet, I get like a full week to work on film stuff.
Which are you most excited about? Because I feel like that's both sides of your brains working, the creative and the analytical side, you know?
Yeah,
Are you more excited? You're just waiting for engineering to be done. You're ready to hop back in on set, or yeah,
yeah, 100% film.
yeah,
Like engineering can be engaging, but a lot of it's kind of monotonous. And you get that with some with film too, but I'm just more excited about film in general.
right. And I can imagine because as filmmakers, we need to pay the bills as well, and it can kind of get monotonous, kind of waiting for that next gig, that next project. So we do need a career, you know. So I honestly want to say I commend you for that because a lot of people just kind of sit around and wait, which is the whole premise of film, hurry up and wait type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, but I wanna dive deep into to Die For. Where did this idea come from? It's such a unique storyline. So tell us about your creative process with that.
So To Die For came from, I first wrote it as a short film. It was basically like, um, I don't know, I just been watching the show Barry and I was like, oh, like I should do like something with the hitman. I don't know what to do with the hitman. And so I just wrote like him just kind of going about his day and then like you don't know what the story's gonna be and then he kills someone.
Mm.
And I kind of took that and like that's I think that stayed in the beginning of To Die For. But now I had just gone on a bad date when I had written that short. And I'm like, oh, like what if this hitman goes on a bad date? And like that's how things started going. And so the original short film was just like Dave go about his day, he kills someone, and then he goes on a date, and then like the date tries to kill him as well.
Mm.
So kind of kept that into To Die For, but I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I should just make this short film. But then I had a friend of a friend who was taking a producing class at UT, and they needed a script to like mock produce. Like they would take your script and then write up a budget for it and like just do that as their producing class. And so it's like, oh, do you have any scripts I could do? Like, oh yeah, I have this short. And like, well, it'd be better if it's like a pilot. I need like a pilot to write or to produce. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So then I had a deadline, so I had to do that. So I finished the first draft of the pilot in that extra week of spring break that we got for COVID. Um,
Dang.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
also I have an extra week of spring break to write this To Die For pilot.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and then turned it into her, and then kept working on it and rewriting it for a while. I submitted it to the Sundance Lab a year later and made it to the second round of that. Um,
Nice.
I would definitely like
Congratulations.
to, thanks. Yeah, I'd definitely like to submit to Sundance again. I know they're like really helpful for up and coming filmmakers. But then
Yeah.
eventually, um, I kind of an outline of the rest of the series, but I had the finished pilot script and brought that to TSTV, and they just said like, "Oh yeah, like go ahead and make that." And so that's when I came to them and started getting more people involved.
Very cool. And prior to that, you have never written anything before, correct? Or is this your first piece?
No, I'd made some stuff before. So at TSTV my freshman year, I had worked on a couple of shows. Like there's one show called Jenny Cinema, which was a sitcom in a movie theater. And so I got to be one of the writers on that. And then I took over as one of the producers for my sophomore year. And so I got to be in charge of writing some on that and some directing too. And then um, I've tried to write a few shorts and like other feature films that just didn't I didn't end up making. So I think To Die For is like the thing I want to push forward is like this can be your introduction to me. Don't watch the stuff that I did before that. Like there's a
I
reason.
feel that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel that. It's like yeah, don't look at like the drafts before. It's kind of like
yeah.
yeah, don't look, hide your eyes type of thing.
Mhm.
So now that you're finished with UT, do you plan on furthering your education in film, or you think you have a pretty good handle on the process, how to market your work? Because I feel like a lot of people they'll start and stop at completing a project, but not continue with like pushing it and so two
Mhm.
questions I guess is do you want to further your education in film or and also, do you want to, have your To Die For in theaters? Do you want to pitch it to networks? Like, what is your goal? I know we talked about it a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. So for education, I do want to apply to UT's Masters in Screenwriting this fall. That wouldn't start until next fall, so I have like some time to keep working on stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that would be a really helpful program. I wasn't going to go to grad school until I looked at UT's program, and it's actually pretty affordable, and I wouldn't have to move or anything. I can stay in Austin, so that's
Yeah.
where I am right now. And so I think that would be really beneficial for me. If I don't get into that, then I'd have to reevaluate from there. I think I would still want to like further just my knowledge of screenwriting. I think there's like just a lot more practice I'd want to do. The main reason I've not moved to LA yet is I hear like you need to have like several polished scripts ready to go when you're networking with people. And LA is expensive to live in, so I'm not trying to do
Oh
that
yeah.
yet. And then as for Pushing to Die For more, and we've already released it on Amazon. It's already on Tubi. Um, I did submit it for a couple more film festivals this year that I'm waiting to hear back from. Um, over the summer is the next one I'll hear back from because I had submitted it to film festivals before when we finished the pilot, just the first episode. And now I'm submitting the whole series. I'm submitting it as a feature because what I found with like submitting to film festivals, most film festivals only have shorts or features. They don't really have 20 to 30-minute pilots. Like it's just harder to program into that. And so I'm trying to submit it as a feature. Hopefully that goes somewhere, but I don't know that we'd ever be able to get it into theaters. I
Mm.
am still kind of thinking about some of the ideas of To Die For. I have another short film that's like kind of along the lines of like Hitman stuff that I want to do again. But that would just be like a new project not connected to Die For.
Oh, okay. So, do you have any tips for people on marketing yourself and marketing your short film? Because I noticed you have a whole separate social media and a whole separate email, and like, is there different things that you had to learn with pushing to die for to be on Tubi, to be on, these different platforms?
Well, what I found is it's actually like pretty easy to get on Amazon and Tubi. We use this network or called Film Hub, and basically you have to have all of your stuff ready for that. But you submit to them, they'll get you on there, no problem. They do take like part of your profits, but then like they'll send out your film to a bunch of different stuff. Like they have like hundreds of services that it could potentially go to. So I think Amazon and Tubi, you don't have to go through them for that. But
Mhm.
if your stats are good through Film Hub, then it can help when you're like looking to get onto other distributors. And so that's why I went with that option. Um, as for like marketing yourself, I did find that like if I just like make a post on like my Instagram, then like people don't care about it as much. But if I made like a to die for post, then just like everyone who worked on the show like wants to share that because like they worked on that.
Yeah.
And there's really like a community that formed around to die for that was really cool to see. And just yeah, like people I think the people who worked on it like should claim it as their own. Like they should be proud of the work that they did on to die for.
Exactly. That's true. And you mentioned that you're working on some other creative projects right now. Is it feature? You mentioned Hitman piece, another Hitman. Is that a short? Is that a feature? What's your creative process like for pre-production on a new project?
Yeah, that's a short film. I've been really struggling to write recently because the whole past year I've been trying to write this new feature, and I just went through outlines and research, and I'd written several drafts of like the first 30 or so pages, and usually I'll hit around 30 pages, and then I can tell whether I'm going to continue with the draft or not.
Mhm.
And I think what was really helpful with To Die For is the pilot was just 30 pages. So I hit the point where I needed to restart, and I think I did like 9 drafts of To Die For before I brought it to CSCB.
Wow.
And to be able to rewrite it um, like from scratch several times, I think was very helpful. But I've not hit quite the point where I'm like ready to move forward with any of these scripts. But I did join this like filmmaker group recently called Armadillo Studios, and it's a couple of friends. Some of them had worked on To Die For, but we make music videos and short films. And so if I make my next short film, it'd be made through them. Like we kind of have established positions and like I've done a couple projects together. And so we have a system in place to like bring that into pre-production, hire people and fundraise and stuff like that.
Very cool. I can see how difficult it is to get out of that creative rut, because you could have all the pieces in play but the words aren't flowing and stuff like that. It can be tough. um
Mhm.
for me personally, I would have to take breaks at a time, wait until that creative spark comes about, and then I'm able to flow a bit better. But
Mhm.
yeah. So you also were a director for To Die For, right?
Yes.
What was it like balancing all the different hats? Because you're a writer, editor, like you're in each stage of your project.
Mhm.
And I just know for me it's just hard to like switch off certain things. How did you focus on each role and make sure you were showing up present, ready to go?
I mean, on set, that's easy. Like I'm just director on set. So
Okay.
like that wasn't too crazy. Like I think it helped that I was really only doing one role at a time for each part of the process. And luckily, I don't really think I got sick of the project until I was doing like color and visual effects on it. Until then, it was still like because it was very much a work in progress still, and so you're still like trying to fix it. You're still trying to like work on it, and
Mhm.
so it's not this static thing. But once we got it locked at the end, and I was doing color and visual effects on it, I'm just looking at the same shots over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm giving feedback to the composer on the same shots over and over again. It's like, okay, I've seen this too many times. I need to stop. Especially when everything was finished and then I needed to do closed captioning for it. Like I didn't want to hire someone for that, so I just did that myself. And I'm like, I don't want to like read the script again. I don't want to do this again. It's been
That's
too many
great.
times.
You like go to bed that night, you just hear the words over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, how important is it to trust the people you work with on your team? Did you have any issues with like someone saying like this should be done differently? Like, w yeah, how important is trust on set?
Yeah, trust is really important because you can't be micromanaging everyone. I mean, you can try it, but like I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
Mhm.
Um, just because there's so many moving parts and there are so many jobs on a film set, like you want to bring in people um who like you trust their style. Like I think when I was like earlier on into like my filmmaking journey, like I kind of thought like, oh, if I bring someone onto a project, I would want to like just have them do what I already have in mind. But I think that's like a bad thing to do. Like for example, for the trailer editor for To Die For, there was this girl I found, her name's Jordan Procal. Um, and I love her editing style. I think she like makes really cool, engaging videos. And like I gave her like a little guidance of like what I wanted, and then she is like the first draft of the trailer was like basically done. Like, yeah, like this is awesome. Like you did a great job. Like to be able to trust someone is like you want to bring you want to work with someone because you want to like work with their style and not clash with them
Yeah.
and like be open to collaboration and communication. Like yeah, communication was a big barrier for me. I definitely found that I wasn't communicating as effectively as I wanted to on Sedai 4, and that was something I like really actively worked on throughout the process and want to keep working on. Because like people just don't know what I'm thinking unless I like articulate it to them. And
Right.
so you have to be able to do that.
That's a fact. Because you're the leader, you're the head. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
which felt weird. The first meeting I had for Sedai 4, a bunch of people showed up because I had made the short teaser to show at like the TSTV general meeting when people were like trying to figure out which shows to sign up for. And I think I made this really cool thing, not to brag, but a bunch of people showed up and then I'm at the front of the room, all these eyes are staring at me and I'm like, ah, jeez.
It can be nerve-wracking because you're just
For
like,
sure.
yeah, I get it. I get it. So we have a segment on our show called the PA peasant section. So I want to ask you, have you ever been a PA before for any productions?
I don't think I've ever been like a PA, but I've done like smaller roles.
Oh, okay. Um,
Uh,
have you ever had an experience on set where it was like such a big learning curve, or it was a good story, a bad story that you want to share? Really?
Dang, I don't know. Yeah. And like there were times I like wasn't paid a lot. Like that's pretty common, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've not been like treated super badly. I guess one interesting experience was I was on the student film set and like the actor that they got as the main guy, um, he's like an older guy, like 60s, 70s, and he like did stunts on the Mission Impossible movies. Not even like the older ones, like the most recent one. And he
Yeah.
was doing like motorcycle stunts on that. Like, okay, it's kind of weird that you're like acting in this student short film, but hey, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just never know who you're gonna meet on set. That's a fact.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, so I'm looking forward to what you have coming next. Is there a date that you can give us as to what next trailer or, you know, a film festival
And
that people can see something of yours at?
yeah, if we get into Film Fest, like the next ones would be this fall in Austin. So that would be the next like screening of anything. As like next project in general, for Armadillo Studios, we're filming a music video
Oh,
on April 12th, like that weekend. And I think we're trying to premiere it um like first weekend of June.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that would be the next thing.
Okay. I also really quickly, Austin has such a lively film culture. What has that
Mhm.
been like to be immersed in, like surrounded by a bunch of creatives? Does that boost your creativity as well or
Oh, for
influence?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never been to South by Southwest until last year, and like going to that was super cool and inspiring. And especially last fall, I went to Austin Film Festival for the first time, and I got the badge that lets you go to some of the conferences, and like being able to go and see like all these writers talk, and it's like, oh, like that's the actual person that made like one of my favorite shows and stuff like that.
Right.
Like that was super inspiring, and I was just so amped up after that weekend for sure.
Yeah, it's so important to surround yourself with people who've done it before. They
Mhm.
inspire you and push you to keep going and stuff like that. So I'm glad you are able to be in that environment because sometimes you can get caught up in your own head in your own creative process and it can
For
feel
sure.
like you're just stuck. And then you listen to someone who's been through it, who has had a career, balancing a career and just trying to like make it, can remind you of your why and like your purpose in this expanding industry. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all the time that we have for today. But Jakin, thank you for your insightful experience. I know there's a lot of people probably trying to balance work life creative type of things, to see someone who's doing it and doing it successfully is really, really inspiring. So I just want to say thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. If you want to connect with Jakin Cordova, his information will be in the show notes. And that is all for today's episode of Film to Gaze. We'll catch you in the next one.